Greetings, family. Sending love. Today we are going to create a tutorial video, which is really exciting. I've been studying some more sacred geometry, which is something that I love doing because it's all about perfection and harmony and understanding the divine mathematics of the cosmos. So the main piece that I've been creating so far is the seed of life. And this has been my this has been my favorite sacred geometrical form recently. I've been studying this one and making a lot of them, and there is a tutorial that is available as well on how to create the seed of life. But today we are going to create the egg of life, and this one I call the forbidden earth resonance because we're going to be utilizing the 177 megahertz lost or forbidden qubit, which is why I call it that, in combination with the 333 megahertz earth core qubit, which is also called the earth resonance qubit. So it just happens to be that the quarter size lost qubit rings in the egg of life sacred geometry fits perfectly in a 333 megahertz, which is the 19.65 inches. So we're going to go through the whole process today. We're going to make it a work of art, and I'm also going to share a little bit about the egg of life and just some key points related to sacred geometry. So we're not only manifesting a beautiful tensor ring, but we're now putting it into sacred geometry, which is enhancing the energetics and the healing potentiality of the piece. And as we do that, we're going to be learning as well about sacred geometry. So I'm desiring to combine all three of these into one video, so it can be pure light and pure service, and just to uplift the consciousness of us. And maybe we'll even start with a little meditation. So let's do that. So we'll drop into a little meditation, and then we're gonna get our tools out. We already have our copper wire here. This is a 10 gauge wire that we're going to be utilizing for this creation. And really exciting. Let's get into it. I haven't done a tutorial video in a while. I have another one in mind that I'm going to release soon, but for now we are going to stick with the egg of life. All right, so let's tap into a little meditation, and then let's get to creation. Greeting you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. And side note is that the love and the light it's everything. It's life, it's consciousness, and that as well could be when we're not feeling at our best, or we're moving through something. That is welcome as well. And the humility aspect of life is so important. And something that's come to me is how the best teacher is one that remains a student. And to me, that's humility. So, anyways, let's tap into this meditation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm happy and grateful and excited to share this with you. Okay, so to begin, we're going to set the intention of calling in harmony, calling in healing energy, calling in humility into our reality, and coming into a full recognition of the consciousness, the I am presence that is us, is life itself, and is allowing for this experience of the all. So bring your awareness to your heart. And simply feel everything that is arising. We're getting out of the analytical beta brainwaves. And we're coming into a more calm, regulated state of being. With our awareness and our attention and our energy on our heart, we're going to take a breath through the nose from the lower belly. Hold it at the top. And release it. This time we're going to bring up a feeling of appreciation for life, of gratitude for life, of thankfulness for life with the breath as we imagine and visualize the breath coming up the spine, all the way up through the heart into the crown. Let's do it. Ready? And release. Now find that feeling of gratitude. Find that feeling. And bring that feeling up with you with the breath. And release. And we're going to affirm 3 times. Get that energy flowing the right way with the affirmation, I am the resurrection and the life. I am the resurrection and the life. Now with the awareness on the heart, I am the resurrection and the life. And now see what remains. Feel the presence with us. And now let's begin our creation of the forbidden earth resonance, 177 megahertz and 333 megahertz. Egg of life, sacred geometry, light, tensor, creation. Bless your heart. All right, family, so we're gonna begin with getting our copper out. Hopefully you have wire at the ready. If not, you gotta go get some. So I'm gonna take out a fair amount. This is 10 gauge solid, which is a wire that I love to use with the tools. It's just a great gauge because it's still thick, but it's also very malleable as well and playable. So I just love to utilize the 10 gauge. So as we go, I will share the process. So we're crimping our ends. Now we're going to twist our wire. So I'm folding it back on itself, right? So we have that. And then we have our two crimped ends. So that's about maybe 4 or 5 feet worth. So let's twist up this wire and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we've hooked the wire to the railing and now we are going to twist. So clockwise is that way when you're looking down on the drill. So let's twist it up. Put that good energy into it. Alrighty, so we've got our twisted wire here, and I'm going to show you a close-up of how tight I twisted it. So that is the tightness. I like the tight twist. It's really got that piezoelectric squeeze. So we've got our metal file. We've got our wire. Now I'm getting that perfectly flat. So that's what we have. This end is perfectly flat. So our lost cubit length is 23.49 inches. So I'm going to divide that by 4, and we have 5.8725. So for reference, I've already got it marked on our cubit length ruler here. So as you can see, this is a very worn ruler, but I do have all of my marks here. So there's the lost, but I want to show you exactly how we get it. So let's get into that. Okay, so it's 5.8725. So we have our digital caliper out here. And I'm now pulling out 1.8. Whoops. 1.872. These are very sensitive, so come on, baby. Come on, jump. Yeah, you jumped. Okay. So just to share with you how I do it is we now have our 1.8725. So I put it on the 4-inch mark. So I like to add an inch. So I just do the caliper on the 4 there as a example. And then I put it right in the center of that middle line there. Make sure this part is straight. Okay, so I've taken out 1.8725. So I like to have that extra inch playroom. You could put this onto the 5 and then just do 0.8725, but I like to have that little bit of playroom. And basically I'm making sure that that is straight because we need to be precise. You have a little bit of playroom when you cut your cubits, but I just put that right there. And then that's how we get our 5.8725. So when we're cutting our cubit lengths, we want to be as precise as humanly possible. So that's why I highly suggest getting yourself a digital caliper. This is a 6-inch one. You can get 12-inch ones and they extend out longer, but this does the job. So you have a little bit of playroom when you're cutting your cubits because you want to hit that harmonic, and you really want to be precise because that is what is giving us that specific healing quality of energy and is anchoring in that cubit length and frequency that is extremely important while we're making these tools. So I just wanted to share with you that aspect to make it as simple as possible. Okay, so we've filed down our one end so it's perfectly flat against a flat surface here. And what I'm gonna do is just take out a little light Sharpie and just put a little dot. Grab our wire snips. And I'm gonna cut to the right of that mark so we don't undercut, and then we just file down. So when you cut to the right of the line, you give yourself that playroom that you never undercut, and then you just completely missed your cubit length. This one, I suggest to always cut to the right of your marked line, so then you can just file down perfectly, and then you have your two flat ends. So there we have a 177 megahertz lost qubit, quarter size. So we're going to get 7 of these cut to perfect length. So I'll show you on the ruler here. So we've got our flat ends, and that is right on our quarter size lost qubit measurement. So we're gonna get 7 of these cut, and then I'll see you soon. Okay, so 5 minutes later, we now have 7 quarter-sized lost cubits. Alright family, so what I just did there was I annealed the wire. And what that does is it softens the wire. You can either anneal your wire before you twist it or after you twist it. That's up to you. Sometimes I do it one way, sometimes I do it the other way. There's no right or wrong. Either way, especially with the smaller size rings, like I wouldn't anneal a ring that is this size, because then it would just be soft. Like you want some sturdiness to your larger rings. So I wouldn't anneal one of these. I would just shape it right away. But annealing softens it. And basically we're gonna use a new tool called a mandrel to shape our wire. And because it's soft, it makes it so easy to play with it, and especially to join our ends perfectly. And that's really important in the creation of the tools, to have our ends joining perfectly, and I'll describe that in our next session here, our next step. So yeah, just wanted to share that. That is what I just did, was I heated it up a bit, just enough where the wire softens and we can create a perfect circle. Alright family, so we are at the part where we are going to shape our rings. So we have our 7 annealed quarter-sized lost cubit, 177 megahertz, twisted copper wire, ready to put into the shape of the ring. So I've now purchased this beautiful new tool, which are actually harder to find than you would imagine. Okay, so with all 7 of our beautiful, perfect lost cubit measurement wires, we're going to shape it. So basically we're going to do this with all 7 of them. Just about where the ends meet up. New Earth trophy right there. Okay. So now we're just going to do one ring at a time, but I'm going to exemplify exactly how we want to get our ends matching. And now that we have this lovely new tool, we can actually, let's square that a little bit more. I just want to show you the exact flow of energy that we're looking for. Okay, so if you can see, we have a perfect flow of energy right there where you don't want to really even be able to tell where your merging point is. So right here, see how those flow perfectly with each other? And you look down and you see, okay, perfect. So that gives you an idea. Okay, so now with all 7 of our rings, we're going to do the exact same thing. And we're going to meet up our ends perfectly. And I want to teach you something as well, which I've taught in other tutorial videos. So there we go. There we have number 2. Perfectly flowing. So we'll put our finish to the side there. And something I'm going to teach you really quick is a cool technique. Basically, if you wanted to join, let me get a thicker gauge here. So I've had a conversation in the past about how does the same end of the wire have to meet the same end to get a working ring? And the answer is no, ultimately, but this is the way that if you want to be particular with it, then you really have that opportunity. And what you do is you just grab your fingernail and you put it on your marked end. So we marked that one end. And what we're going to do is we just follow our fingernail down. And then we can mark our end. So now we know that that end of the wire is that end. And then when you put it into your ring shape, you can connect those two ends. So I reached out to many creators, and some like to join the same ends of the wire and some don't. So you don't have to get a correct working harmonious energy field. But if it's your choice and you feel like it adds to the energetics and intention of your creation, then that's up to you. So that is the way. You just follow your fingernail down, mark it, and then you know which end is which. And in the process we're doing here, you would just find your two ends and then you would join them. Okay, so back to it. Just meeting all these joints perfectly. And doing it with all 7 of our beautiful rings that are coming into fruition. So tip is, the reason why I annealed it is because it makes it very easy to play with the wire, and you can get those ends joining perfectly. So we have 4. I'm gonna do the next 3 and then I'll see you soon. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, family, so we are now going to braze. So we've got all of our rings prepped, all of them aligning. So we're going to utilize our torch. We got a map torch, and we have copper brazing rods, making sure the area is well ventilated. I have a window open here, and I've got a door open right there. So, brazing. What you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your torch. I want to show you how perfect flow we have here, and we want to do for every single ring, okay? Come on, baby. So you see that flow? That's what we're looking for. Okay? So now you know it's all about energy flow. So this is going to be with every single ring, okay? So really make sure that you're joining your ends, and we're getting that perfect harmonic coherent energy within the column. Okay, so now that we've got that perfect flow, we get our torch. And that's it. So the tip is with brazing is you want to just heat up your ring, just like you saw there, until you start to see it turning red, and it should be very effortless. You simply grab and you just a wee dab, just a little touch. It's very light, simple, gentle. Let it bring it in, and just like that. Okay, I'm gonna braze one more with you, and then we're gonna do that for all 7 of our rings, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so same thing. We've got our perfect flow. Double check in, seeing if there's any adjustments. Torch lit. So you see how that's turning red? And that's all you need. So if you scroll down on the Moonas channel, You can see that there's a whole video on brazing techniques and methods. I go over silver, just conversate about it and also show you exactly how to do what we just did. So that's really it, and we're gonna get these last 4 rings brazed up, and then I'll see you at the next step. Alright family, so we've got these 7 quarter size lost qubits resonating at 177 megahertz, working on the emotional, the mental, and the etheric aspects of our being. And let's put it into an egg of life. Okay, so now that we've got our 7 rings, we're going to put them on our new lovely tool. And we have a little rubber mallet. We're getting perfect circles. So we're going to do that with all 7. So we have perfect circles. Absolute magic. In all my years of creation, I have not had this tool yet. I've been looking for one, and they're quite expensive and hard to find. But if you are interested and are still on this journey with me, then I will share with you where I got this one. So I'm just gonna make sure these are nice and flat too. It's all about perfect geometry. Okay. Now we have 7 perfectly circular and flat tensor. Divine creations. We're going to put this into the sacred geometry. Okay, so the egg, we basically elegantly simple, as Slim said. Okay, now we're gonna braze it all together. what we're doing here is we're just brazing all of our joints. Making sure every joint is perfect. And then kind of look, see if there's any touch. Beautiful. Okay. That, my friends, is the egg of life, lost or forbidden qubit. Okay, now that we have our sacred geometry lost qubit egg, we are going to make the 19.65 inches earth core or earth resonance 333 megahertz ring, and that's gonna fit precisely upon our lost qubit egg. So let's make that ring. Okay, so I'm simply shaping this ring. I did a little bit of a looser twist because I prefer the aesthetic aspect with a little bit of a looser twist, because the lost is a really tight twist, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It gives it that dynamic. So this is the earth core. This is amazing for structuring, energizing, enlivening water, grounding, connecting you with the earth's frequencies. Amazing, amazing ring. Also called the sound healing. The sound healing ring. Amplifies sound. You can put these around your sound bowls. So we've got our ends joining up perfectly. We're gonna braze this ring. Okay. We've got our divine earth core ready to be brazed. Okay, so we've now got our 333 19.65 inch, and you see how it doesn't immediately it's not perfect when you put it like that. So the thing is the sacred, which I have, I was gonna do a sacred qubit, which see how there's gaps right here? So that would be possible, actually. We could put brazing. Actually kind of like that, because the 144s in resonance with the 177 as well. So let's change up our creation on the fly and call this the Sacred Lost. Egg of Life, Sacred Geometry Creation. Let's do that. Switch it up a bit on the fly. Okay, so what I'm gonna do then is just get it even. Make sure we have, and I'll just have to add more solder. Okay, or more brazing. All right, family, so there was clearly a shift in energy there. This one here is the 333. So I made this one earlier in the morning and it's now the afternoon. So this is the earth core. As you can see, you see how this one, it had to squeeze a bit, and you really gotta squeeze this one on. You could see how when I initially put the earth resonance right onto the lost, you gotta really squeeze it in. Rather with the sacred here, it's this is the 144 ring, so I had this just sitting around the house, and the 144 and the 177 match really well together. So that gives you a little bit of a difference. This is the 333 with the lost, and this is the sacred with the lost, so I can share with you that. And basically the reason why I switched it up is because this one still fits, but it just has little larger gaps there. Rather with this one, the 19.65, it's smaller than the sacred, which is the 20.63 inch. So yeah, it really depends, but either or will work. So it just depends on what frequencies you want to play with. We know that the 144 and the 177 synergize and blend really well together. So the sacred was the first qubit that Slim utilized, and then the 177 came after, which is the lost. So just for the sake of this video, we're going to continue with our sacred and lost. And what I'm doing is I'm just filling in the gap with the brazing. So as you can see, so that's why I initially picked the earth core, because that gap is getting a little bit too large for me, but I'll show you how we can fill it in. So you kind of just connect the joint. And then we have a pretty large braze there, but it works. last but not least, we've got I'm actually going to squeeze this together a little bit. Come on in. And we can adjust that circle a little bit afterwards. Beauty. Ooh-wee. Powerhouse charging station. So once that's cooled, I can play with that circle a little bit. Okay, so I just gave it a little quick cool down and kind of working with that edge there, making it a little more circular. And that right there, my dear friends, is how you create a Egg of Life sacred geometry charging station. So you can just keep it with the Lost, or you can add that circumference ring, which I really like to do to bring it all in. So it's up to you. This gives it more of like a complete piece, a charging station. And yeah, so you know, you can charge your water right on that, and that'll do wonders to your water. Instantaneously positive effect going on. And we're gonna go over how we can exactly utilize this. This is once it's polished up a bit. So I'm going to put this one in the pickle and then give it, you know, about a half hour, an hour. And then we're going to polish this one up. And then I will see you soon for our little bit of an Egg of Life sacred geometry class. And I'll also share how we can utilize these for healing. And then we'll go from there. All right, family. So we're going to go over something called nano-coating, which is new to me because I was never taught it, but it's come up in the field over the years. And basically, I shared the Egg of Life on a Facebook group, and I had a brother say, for a natural nano-coating to bring out the plasma fields 10,000 times better, you need to torch the entire copper until it's red hot, then let it cool. You can also use the caustic method for better results. Okay, so we're gonna nano coat this piece. So we're just gonna torch it till it's red hot. So that's nano-coated. That is definitely red hot. So I'm gonna do more research into nano-coating. I'm gonna get some studies and research done, and once that's done, I will share with you exactly some of the key points I've come across. Yeah, so we're gonna let that cool. We'll keep our sacred and lost egg of life nano-coated, and yeah, I'll feel the energy. We're gonna keep our other one polished here, which is our original earth resonance with the lost. So I'll show you a little bit of a difference here. So that's what we're looking at. And we're just gonna keep that how it is. So there's a black and white difference. Okay. So let's go over our egg of life sacred geometry little class, and then that's the video. Greetings, family. All right, after a little bit of a study session, it just keeps getting better. The egg of life is divine, and I'm going to share with you a few key points that I have written down. So this one, we have the nano-coated, which I'm going to make a whole nother video about, and also do my own research and integrate the information before I share it with you all. But why not start now? And this is our polished Earth Core 333 and Lost Egg of Life. So this has been our day so far. And now I'm going to share with you what I've wrote down. So, the egg of life, and I'm going to speak through it as the cosmic microphone. This shape is the morphon genetic structure that created our body. Our entire physical existence is dependent on the egg of life. Everything about us is created from this form. The egg then becomes the fruit. And this is the female energy because it's all round, circular. And then when you add and connect all the points with the egg turning into the fruit, you then get Metatron's cube. This pattern reflects the process of the fertilized egg dividing into the cells, symbolizing fertility and birth and creation itself. The egg is the stepping stone that then expands into the sacred flower of life. Because of its perfect geometry, the egg is seen as a key to balance, regeneration, and cosmic order. Researchers share about how the egg encodes the basis of the musical structure, showing its link to sound, vibration, and cosmic harmony and order. Sometimes the egg is seen as a 3D bridge between the 2D seed of life and the flower of life. And this is the point where geometry becomes more alive, where it's symbolizing the passage of the blueprint of creation coming into form. And in some esoteric traditions, the egg of life is called the resurrection pattern. And you remember the affirmation that we said at the beginning of the video, which I had no clue until I did further research on the egg, that is called the resurrection pattern. I am the resurrection in the life, because it encodes renewal, the way that the cell divides and life is in constant cycles of rebirth. May this video, this tutorial, have served you well, got you into inspiration, creation, harmony, meditation, contemplation. If you want to subscribe to the channel, it really helps out the algorithm, just sharing more of this wisdom and this light and this healing energy. The course is available. There's a beginner's and an advanced version. They both come with the ebook. You can just keep scrolling down on the YouTube, and we're just getting started. We're just getting started in the eternal now. The shop is open if you want to acquire. You're more into acquiring than creating. And last but not least, I will share some information on how we can go about utilizing this in daily life. So number one is I have water. So this is creating a beam of life force energy or light in combination with the frequencies that we chose. So we can encode our water with this healing energy. We can put it on a place of pain in the body. So I can quite literally tuck it into my pants. I can put it on my heart center. This will harmonize electromagnetic. So if you have your phone around, you can put it there and it will help to transmute and harmonize the potential harmful energies coming off your phone. You can put this in the garden, put your plants on this, help your plants grow. This basically has a pillar, a beam, a column mixed with the sacred geometry of vital life force energy. So if you know about the healing benefits of the rings themselves, this is amplified because we now have it in the sacred geometrical form of the egg of life. There's so many, this is literally a charging station for everything and anything you want to charge. So just use your imagination. It's even, literally a plate. If you're having your smoothie bowl or your food, you quite literally put your food on that and charge up your food with the resurrection and the life as you consume it. So there's a few ways, and you can just check out other videos into how I describe this energy. May this have served you well. Leaving you in the love and in the light of the egg of life. Shoo!